Okay, I think we're probably ready to start now. So, welcome everyone to the first programming club meeting of this school year. We're also live on Twitch if you don't want to watch the Discord live stream. Nick, you want to go on to the next slide? Okay, so we've officially actually launched our website. It's no longer just under construction. So if you have any questions during the presentation, you don't want to like unmute and say them, or you're in Twitch, you can just go to the questions page and I'll see it on my screen. Also, if you want to show that you were here, you can go to our website /meetings, and if you just click view meeting, it'll log your attendance. Okay, so what are we? Programming Club is, like we said in the Computer Club meeting, we're going to present about assorted programming topics /projects, which if you have something you ever want to talk about, just message one of us on Slack or Discord or anything, and we'll see what we can get you in for. We're very flexible. We're trying to do beginner to advanced programming concepts, so we won't just go over everyone's head or make anyone who's more skilled bored, hopefully. And we plan to introduce more new languages than we have in the past, because different languages are very useful for solving different problems. And we are still participating in as many competitions as we can, which so far we know of actually a couple that we will still be doing, which we'll talk about later in the presentation. So who are we? I'm the president, Blake, and my Slack is @B.
I'm the vice president, Aaron, Slack @Aaron.
And we're available like anytime, so if you need help with something, just put a message in the programming club Slack channel or just DM one of us or something, and we can help you. So, like I said, how we communicate, Slack Programming Club is how we're going to announce all of our meetings, or here in the Help Night Discord, we'll also say when we're live, or we can help you here. And anything else you can find on our website, which is dsuprog.club. So what we've done in the past is we have went to DKC3, which is a competition at DIGI-KEY up in Thief River Falls. We've taken first place 2 years in a row, hoping to make that a third year this year. And we'll have a sign-up form later because this competition is actually next month, so we need to pick teams somewhat soon. Some other things that we've done is the ICPC regional competition, which previously we would go to Minneapolis and we would do it there, but obviously we can't travel, so they're planning to make it online, and we don't know when that's going to be yet. But as soon as we know, we'll talk about it, because we also have a regional qualifier, which anyone can participate in, and that decides who goes to regionals. And if you place high enough at regionals, like we had a team do last year, you get to go to NAC, which last year they flew out to Georgia, I think it was, and stayed there for about a week and did really cool competition. All the top schools were there, funded by SpaceX. Pretty cool stuff if you get to go that far. So what we will do this year is we're still going to do local competitions. We're hoping to launch one sometime soon. Code Golf maybe with Andrew if he would want to do that with us, or we can use Codebox, which Brendan, last year's president, made that we used for competitions. It's just like Caddis if you've ever used that, except we can actually add our own problems. And Hack-a-thons, which we find a lot of fun in doing, but it's kind of a little bit harder to do this year, but we'll still be doing them. So like I said, the website is launched finally. We actually have all of our resources available on the website. You currently can't access the slides via a button, but if you want to look at these slides, you can go to our website /present/intro, and you can actually view these slides if you want to click any of these links. Resources is going to be just random resources that will help you with figuring out programs or algorithms or just cool things we find. Basically, just whatever we want to link to, we're going to throw there. And then, like I said, questions if you have any questions. So that's a general intro to our club, and now we're just going to talk about some environment setup. So get you jump started in programming. A couple languages you'll want to get are Python 3, Node.js, and Lua, assuming that you already have a C and C++ compiler, since you'll be learning those in your classes. And these are languages that we're going to do stuff with. Lua is really nice for making graphical user interfaces really easily in code, and you can also use it with your C++ projects pretty easily. Node runs on JavaScript, which the entire internet runs on, so it's a very useful language to know. And Python is really nice for solving any like analytical problems, or if you need to just code something up quick. We use it a lot for competitive programming because it's really easy to write and fast enough for our needs. And so now we're going to talk about just a few IDEs or text editors. They all serve different purposes, so I can't recommend one just for everything, but there are some that are better than others. So if we go on here, the first one, NOTEPAD++. If you've had to write code on Windows, you probably know about Notepad++. It's just not bad Notepad. It's like quick. It's not like a full IDE, so you don't have to make your computer take off when you just want to write a quick program. And here's just an example of what it looks like. That's actually Lua code there. So Visual Studio Code, I think, is one of the best that you can run. It's definitely the best for web development. So if you're writing like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or a variant of those languages, you'll definitely want to be using this. That's what it's built for. It's actually wrote using JavaScript and HTML and CSS. And it's the editor that actually popularized language servers, which is used for the best quality IntelliSense. Normally, other editors kind of had to like fake what they knew about a language when you're programming in it, so they can try and give you the best suggestion. The language server actually hooks into the compiler and the compiler or interpreter and gives you much higher quality IntelliSense. And it's extremely lightweight. That's actually based on an editor that runs in your browser. So it's only a couple megabytes in size. Here's an example of what that looks like. Vim, which is my favorite and a lot of other people's favorites, but a lot of people also hate it. It's extremely lightweight and installed on basically every machine ever, except for Windows, which is a large portion of machines actually. But any flavor of Linux or Mac, you'll have this installed by default, which means that once you get used to it, you can just use it almost anywhere. It's controlled completely with keyboard, so any action that you want to do, you don't have to like click buttons because it's all written for your terminal, so you don't ever leave your terminal when you're opening files in this. But it has a large learning curve because of that, so you have to know the keyboard combos and kind of how it works under the hood to really be very productive with it. However, it's very configurable because of that. So you can write your own config for it and or make it look however you want. You can use language servers like how Visual Studio Code does it. Here's just a picture of what mine looks like. You can barely even tell it's a terminal because of how nice you can make it look. It doesn't look like this out of the box, but it's relatively easy to configure it like this. And if you ever want to start using Vim and need help configuring, definitely let me know on Slack and I can help you. Next one is Emacs, but more specifically Evil Mode Emacs, which is Emacs but with Vim key bindings, because normally Emacs you have to have like 20 fingers just to use the key combos. People consider it basically an OS because it has so many different packages that are like outside the scope of a normal editor. And when you're in it, you almost never have to leave it. It's got web browsers and like email clients, music players, all that stuff. It's got in packages if you really want to go ham on configuring it. Just like Vim, it's controlled complete with keyboard, and evil mode is Vim key binding. So if you get used to that, you can use either. But it has an even larger learning curve because there's more that happens under the hood. And here's an example of what it looks like. This is using a flavor, if you'd like to call it that, of Emacs called Doom. Because normally Emacs looks like it was made in like the 70s because it was. So people make these flavors which handle the looks and everything that happens underneath the hood for you, so you don't have to like learn an entire system just to edit a text file. And this one's got a bit more features than Vim does. You can see you can manage projects and have like recently opened files. Even has an agenda. It introduced the org language, which is one of the best languages for note taking. A lot of writers use it. So if you need something for that, definitely get into org. Can't recommend it more. And the last two that we have here, these are actual IDEs. The other ones have just been text editors, but these are IDEs more specifically for if you want to do like Windows or game development or Android development, you can use Visual Studio. And then XCODE is the Apple counterpart to that. So you use XCODE for any sort of Apple app that you want to make. This is what Visual Studio looks like. It's much heavier than Visual Studio Code, so your install is going to be tens of gigabytes just for an editor, but there's really nothing better for C#. So if you're going to be doing C# development, definitely pick up Visual Studio. And then here's Xcode, obviously only available on Macs because Apple's like that. This is Swift, so if you're going to want to do Apple app development, you're probably going to have to learn Swift to do that. So here's the DIGI-KEY sign up form. This is on our presentation, so if you go to dsuprog.club/present/intro and go through the slides, you can click this right here. And so if you want to go to DIGI-KEY, you do have to be a junior or above to go. Although if you're a sophomore, you should still sign up just in case we don't have enough people and we need to pick from those. Signups are due near the end of this month, and the competition will be October 16th. So we definitely don't have a full team yet, so if you want to sign up, you definitely should. So if anyone has any questions, you can ask now. Next week we'll be doing Git or GitHub, or both of them at the same time. So that's a tool that's very useful to programmers, and you definitely want to know that before you start making things.
They didn't knock them down, though.
Does anyone else have questions?
He becomes the ugly little bat. Someone else.
Well, that's all we had for today. Next
I got a-
week's meeting. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I got a question. So I signed up for the thing for the join the meeting through your website, and it said like questions, and I sent a question in it. Do you guys get that then, or is that like
Yeah, I should have. If you sent one in, I haven't seen it. It might be broken. If you have a question, you can just ask us here, though.
okay? So my question was I would like to get involved. So, I don't know, some type of competition, right? But I have never done anything, so I'm just wondering like when you guys would start with that, and then like how I can get involved with that.
Yeah, so we are planning to try and get a sample competition up and running on our own competition platform. We'll really use this site called Caddis, which the ICPC competition uses. And basically you're given sample input, and they tell you what the output's supposed to look like, and you just solve it like that. We start with easy problems, and they can go pretty hard, ones that we can't even solve. So once we get that up and going, we'll let you know, and that's just a great way to get started.
Okay. I guess if no one else has another question, is there going to be like a dedicated group chat to just a programming club, or I don't know?
Yeah, so that would be our Slack channel.
Could you post a link in the I guess the computer club's chat on Discord so I could get to that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll throw that in there right after the meeting.
Do we get Visual Studio through our school account?
You can actually just get Visual Studio Community for free. I don't actually know if you get the full Visual Studio through the school. I've never actually tested it. But Community is good enough for most use cases, unless you're doing serious app development with a lot of users doing it. Even object-oriented, if you haven't taken that yet, you'll use C# in the free version, and it's plenty good enough. So you definitely don't need to buy it. All right, well, if no one has any other questions, that's all we had for today. Like I said, tune in next week for Git and GitHub, and then after that we'll be doing some web development in collaboration with Computer Club. We'll be teaching some JavaScript, which is the most powerful tool for web development. So definitely don't miss those meetings. All right, Nick, if you want to end the stream, that's all we had.